Hey guys, pay no attention to the third eye. No, I'm just kidding. Pay a lot of attention, right? Attention's key. But let's not judge a book by its appearance. I'm in the middle of a ritual, and I want to share this. Just got done making another video, right in the description, and conducting a little ceremony. And I really want to say that attention is key. And, that's part of the reason I put that ash there. It's symbolic of attention and mindfulness, consciousness, right? So I give that a shout out, just in case you wonder why on this guy there's a little dot on his third eye. It's an outward expression or manifestation, symbol of that which is within, right? But anyways, I make this video because I want to provide some context. Oftentimes, spiritual information or spiritual story is not presented in a context of relatability, of familiarity. Thus, I share this for that reason, to provide some context, because the video I was just writing a description to, I mentioned a lot of this, what I'm about to say, but I want to show you in person so that you can see it visibly, you can see it tangibly, so that it's an expression of authenticity. It's not something that I'm making up. I'm not making up a personal story. Now, it's really important for everybody to see that the worldly, the fleshly, pursuing that which is temporary will not bring any permanent satisfaction, will not bring any long-term happiness. If we're perpetually indulged in sense gratification, how can we call that success? It's not success. Success is something which we witness within. It's not dependent on anything outside of us. And of course, all insides have outsides. That's the great secret, right? That's the metaphysical secret. But are we in tune with it? Is that our experience something that we witness? Not in terms of the past, an event that's happened, but witness on a day-to-day basis. Is that our everyday, daily experience as we navigate this and traverse this wonderful worldly reality? We don't have to negate the worldly, call it evil, call it bad, as if we're separate from it, right? But we want to be able to discriminate as we navigate, so that we can see clearly and lucidly and not get caught up in identifying with a personal history or personal memory. And I mention this because the reason I'm able to speak so candidly, so openly, so full of authenticity, right, is because I don't identify with the past history. And it's not just something that's a realization intellectually. It's not, oh, it happened in the past, I understand this, I don't have to judge myself, I don't, self-forgiveness. That's great to understand that intellectually. But to actually navigate reality every day in pure awareness, where you're completely present and grounded, experiencing that groundedness in the present moment, you're naturally not even thinking about a past history. And thus you can share with other people openly and say, listen, these are the mistakes that I've made. And thus they'll feel that relatability, because you're not acting in a sense of superiority, right? Nothing is inferior, nothing is superior. We don't have to see reality in terms of duality. We don't want to feel separate from it, feel split. And so I mention this because, if you were to know me a few years ago, even just a few years ago, right, in terms of time, you would have found a lot of dirt. I was entrenched in material contamination, you could call it. Endless pursuit of sense gratification, of the worldly, of the fleshly, of identifying as a separate body, wanting to serve this meanness, instead of realizing that I'm the same awareness which looks out of the eyes that's watching this. The same awareness that's present within everybody. That is consciousness, right? It's pure aliveness, pure abundance, pure awareness. So as we navigate this worldly reality, we want to feel awake, aware, and alive. To witness within ourselves a heightened degree of consciousness. To embody the life force. People will see it in our eyes. There's that fire within that's ever burning, because I'm not wasting it on temporary self-gratification, on sense indulgence. My energy, my life energy, my attention is not constantly directed outwardly toward the world. Even with the eyes open, it's a sense of inward witnessing. It's like the energy is flipped, and everything is an extension or a part of oneself. And thus there's that sense of connectedness and no sense of separation. So again, I mention this. St. Francis Assisi said, I've been all things unholy. So if he has it in him, if I have it in me to change, then so can everybody. We're all capable. It's not a question of capability. It's a question of willingness. And unfortunately, sometimes it takes somebody to hit rock bottom before they realize that willingness within themselves. It's dormant within everybody. Just like divinity. Just like that pure awareness, this consciousness. It's a part of our subjectivity. And we want to get in tune with it experientially and have it be a part of our daily reality. And like St. Francis Assisi, I've been all things unholy. Like I said, if you were to know me just a couple years ago, you would have found a lot of dirt. I was slanging weed. At a certain point, I was selling pills and Xanax. I was snorting Xanax. And I mention this because I'm free. I don't identify with a personal history. I see that as a memory, something that happened from the standpoint of the awareness of this body, of this human organism, which is temporary, right? It's the essence of spirituality, is realizing our own mortality. This body is a piece of the earth. It's going right back to the earth. What's our source? What's our essence that enlivens this body, that is beating our very chest, that when we get in tune with, we'll witness a perpetual sense of happiness, right? It's sourced from within. It's not a condition. It's not dependent. It's independent of that which is without. But at the same time, there's that heartfelt sense of inclusiveness. When we witness that happiness, we want to share it with everybody else because we don't see them as separate from ourselves. See, that sense of separation, man, that's the greatest solution. Hence the third eye, right? When we see clearly, we see lucidly. We'll see that everything in this reality is really a part of ourselves. Of course, there's that variety. Variety's spice life. Divinity has given each of us a powerful sense of individuality. We don't want to shun ego, but we certainly don't want to identify with it either. We want to get in tune with the ether, right? Truth, speaking the truth, sound. Realize that this universe is one sound, all happening now. There is no within and without. It's all simultaneous right now. We use words to point at, to help discriminate, to label, to name, so that we can, read between the lines. But at the same time, everything is fundamentally the same. There's that sense of individuality, right? We each have a body. We're not a body. But at the same time, in terms of life, there really is no boundary. So I share this openly. Tell you a little bit about my personal history. And tell you the intent, what inspired it, is the description in making the video that I've been working on today that I will post after or before this. I mean, post it now, right? One of which, either going to post that one before this or after this on the channel, but when you see that, it's titled The Would-Be Hero. True story. And I'm not calling myself a hero. Those aren't my words. Those are Joseph Campbell's words, right? The hero story. And that's a common theme amongst all religions and traditions and ancient depictions, is that the hero's journey, that story. It's a common thread throughout. Like I said, I'm not calling myself a hero. I want to mention that too. I'm glad I remembered that. Because, we want to realize that words are labels to point at something in reality. It's not the actual story, right? So it's, called the hero's journey. But the true hero realizes that they're not a personality. So they don't consider themselves a hero. Because there's that sense of humility. And again, humility has nothing to do with emotionality. So there is nobody to claim it. Nobody can claim they're humble. But we can talk about it, right? Because as far as divinity is concerned, it's probably the most essential quality. Pridefulness and arrogance, that's really the fall of man. We want to live in accordance with our plan. The plan that life has for us. When I tune into our spiritual heart, let that guide us. As we do, the inner power will guide us, lead us, direct us, of course protect us. Presence, which is realized through embodying our essence, which is the intent, the purpose of me making both this video and the one that I'm referring to that inspired me to make this, the one which I hope brings you value and meaning and inspiration, so that you can feel that definite sense of determination, so that you can be serious. You know, life can be fun. Life is fun. Life is glorious. There's that continuous sense of blessedness. But at the same time, sometimes you really got to be serious to snap out of a rut, to feel that willingness to get out of it. And thus, this serves as that. If you need some motivation, some inspiration, ultimately it's found within. But certain channels, certain videos, certain information can help stimulate that within us. I know certainly it has for me. Seeing certain things on here. Seeing a guy fast for 40 days. Wow. Talk about breaking beliefs. Breaking paradigms. And there was a time where I thought that the food pyramid was a good guide. Right? Don't get me started. Anyways, love you guys. Really do. God bless you. Told a woman yesterday, looked her in the eyes and said, God bless your heart. I tell that to a lot of people. Just randomly. I love going out in public and just smiling or saying something like that to somebody. Because people don't expect it. A lot of people nowadays are anxious and they're not confident. There's not that sense of groundedness. And at the same time, transcendence. Because they're too heavily identified as a meanness. As a separate I-ness. Instead of the all-inclusive I. The one I. Right? The I that is our pure awareness. A pure attention. Which ultimately doesn't require any discrimination. It can. But it doesn't need to. It doesn't have to. It may want to. But yeah, God bless your heart, man. Or woman. Don't have to identify as a gender either. Of course, there's a difference. But I'm not going to get into this. Told her that. She was taken back. Like, wow. Random guy telling me God bless my heart. Sometimes I just like seeing people's reactions. But there hasn't been one person I've told that to, and I've told a lot of different people that hasn't been kind of like, whoa, didn't expect that. You know what I mean? And it does my heart good. So does this. So do you. Whether you try to or not. Whether you call yourself an enemy of somebody. Personally, I have no enemies. Whether they consider themselves one or not. That's on them. That's their karma. Right? As far as I'm concerned, it has nothing to do with me. Their personality, right? I'm focused on what they are existentially. Not who they are superficially. Not who they are as a role. Of course, you know, actions speak loud. What is within is always going to find expression without. A lot of people can talk a lot of gibberish. But what really speaks is action. And somebody could say, well, this guy's just speaking. But at the same time, it's action, right? Speaking is action. But that's where discrimination comes into play. So I come on here so that you can see that it's me speaking truthfully, because you can visibly see that body language. Not even just what I'm saying. It's all part of the plan. Not something that I personally planned. Like I said, it's just, I want to make this video because I feel something within me guide me to do it. And we all have that inner voice, that inner guidance, that conscious that we discover inwardly when we're not lost in worldliness, in darkness of personal self-indulgence. Which again, I've been there. It's not by any means a solution or a means to happiness or success, therefore. Because for one to be successful, but not be happy, that doesn't make any sense, right? When other people's actions can affect your inner state, it's not happiness, that's not success. Somebody else's recognition, their opinion, whatever it is, affects your inner being, that's not success. Success and happiness are synonymous. And it starts with willingness, a repeated act of choice to embody our life essence, to realize our presence, and thus live life to the fullest. Each moment, be completely present. To realize that you are, that we are, pure, wholesome, unbridled, uncontaminated, loving awareness that is unblemished by a psychological process. Less thoughts, more peace. But at the same time, thoughts are a powerful thing, especially when you realize you're not them. Because as men, we're not defined by circumstances. We define our circumstances with our thoughts. And of course, some analysis. But we want to be able to compartmentalize that and realize that we're not fundamentally that. But in order to create and shape, to manifest, all thoughts are of significance. The Empire State Building, for instance, started as an idea, as a concept in the mind of its creator. Of course, there is fundamentally one creator that empowers us, that animates us, that enlivens us, that gives life to our awareness. However, again, we've gloriously been given a sense of divine individuality, and thus zest, variety, spice of life. So I mention this because there need not be any strife. I've had a lot of dirt in my past. So has pretty much everybody, right? If we're honest. You can be open about it. You don't gotta hide it. In fact, you can't hide anything. Consciousness is ever present. Every single hair on your head is accounted for. Every single thought, word, and deed is recorded. An infinite, timeless, for lack of a better word, consciousness, which we are fundamentally as humanity. All of us. There's not a separate life force, a separate presence. But we've each been given the power of choice, free will. And thus, some of us know this, choose to treat life with a sense of sacredness, to treat themselves with respect by never neglect in their sacred essence, which they realize is in everybody else as well. Self-respect, calmness, determination, simple diet, exercise, some good rules to live by. I think that's a good note to leave it on. Love you guys. Hope you enjoy the rhymes. Hope you have a hell of a time in heaven, in Eden, no sense of separation. Right now, forever, and always. It's only this moment. You can understand that as a concept, where you can really dig deep, discover deeply, and realize our inherent divinity.